Good morning and welcome to Gentex Multimedia live presentation all the way from sunny Brisbane. Well, today we have a wonderful show lined up for you, and we are streaming live to your device from beautiful Brisbane in Australia. And with you, I'm Umesh Chandra, your host for the show. Making news today, a school in Sydney's West is closed after a new case of coronavirus. And of course, Queensland is bracing for another day of severe storms. The World First Surgery has enabled 2 Australian men to operate their computers using their thoughts only. Now that is thought-provoking, isn't it? Meanwhile, Germany has announced a partial lockdown of Europe as Europe's COVID-19 cases spirals out of control once again. Follow us throughout the day for key breaking news, developments, coronavirus updates and live streams from Australia and around the show. And on today's show, we will have the live update with Oz India travels on, if you're traveling to or from India or coming out of India to Australia, what are your options and what is on the plane. Well, right now, with that, let's go to the weather for today. First, with Dilraj.
Good morning, everyone. Weather forecast for the rest of today is maximum 30 degree. The Brisbane area is partly cloudy with 50% chances of rain and a chance of a thunderstorm in the morning and early afternoon. Light winds becoming northwest to northeasterly 15 to 20 km per hour in the early afternoon and then becoming light in the late afternoon. Fire danger is low to moderate. Sun protection is recommended till 3 past 10 and UV index is predicted to reach 9, that is very high. Till tomorrow, stay safe and have a good day.
And thank you very much for that live update of the weather. And we have had some very stormy weathers in and around Brisbane. Well, right now making news today, and the headlines for today is there's a concern as big crowds start celebrating Melbourne's reopening. People have been rushing into these shops, and then of course Sydney school has been closed due to a positive COVID-19 case. Germany and France go back into lockdown. Bali 9 member among 3 Aussies in Kerobokan with COVID-19. And breaking news, Victoria has recorded 3 new coronavirus cases and 0 deaths in the past 24 hours. The Department of Health and Human Services said the rolling 14-day average to October 28th in metropolitan Melbourne is 2.4 and 0 in regional area. The number of mystery cases or cases with unknown source due to October 26th is 4. The new cases were reported on Wednesday after 2 days of 0 cases. 2 new deaths in aged care were reported yesterday as well. Well, all that and lot more. But first we will go and have a quick look at all the news updates for today. But before we go to that, as we know, in and around Brisbane, every morning when I go on my walks, there's new things that are happening right around. As we know, Howard Street off. This scene is virtually outside from our window. A new gangway, a new landing is being made there, and as you can see, it will provide access right to, if you're coming to work, you can come by a ferry, get off there and come to our work. So that once that's complete, that would be great looking little location. But that's history in the making, as you can see all the works that are taking place right now. Here's another view from the other side. Well, with the general news, first off, we will go to Victoria, where the Premier Daniel Andrews is pointing out that the restrictions are over, but you need to take care.
About the reopening of retail and hospitality. Today, some 16,200 retail stores, 5,800 cafes and restaurants, and about 1,000 beauty salons and 800 pubs can reopen their doors. That's around 180,000 workers who can return to work on site. That is an achievement that every single Victorian should be proud of. I want to thank everybody in all of those industries for the very productive way in which they have and continue to engage with us. They know and understand deep down that we've all got to be COVID safe. We've all got to follow the rules to protect staff, to protect customers, but also to protect this fragile thing that we've all built, this precious thing that every single Victorian has built. So we're grateful to all of those businesses. They've been through a lot. We've tried to support them as much as we can, and now the greatest support is for everybody to remain vigilant so that we can be COVID safe and open, find that COVID normal and then lock it in. But it's no small thing to have 180,000 people going back to work today. Many Melburnians will be...
So that's good news there for Melbourne that, they have now opened up. But, of course, caution needs to be exercised, as the Premier has said there. Well, right now, moving on, let's go to New South Wales, where the Premier there is talking about what's happening in New South Wales. And, of course, he's not very happy with the borders of other states not opening up to New South Wales.
Overnight, there were 14,300 tests taken by New South Wales residents. We do want to see that number maintain and go up. Dr Chant and I and the Minister remain concerned about undetected cases in south-western Sydney. Overnight, we had 8 cases in New South Wales. 7 of them were in hotel quarantine, and just the one was linked to an existing cluster in Lakemba. So the positive news is the one person who was identified as a new case overnight lived in the same household as an existing case, was already in isolation. But notwithstanding that, we do remain concerned about cases that are undetected in south-western Sydney. We're urging in particular people to come forward in that area. As you may have already been advised, the sewage testing also detected antibodies of the virus, and so we are concerned about what that might occur, especially given we are entering the season where festivities and social gatherings increase. We want to make sure we get on top of this before we get into a season where people are more mobile and obviously in closer contact with each other. I also want to please ask everybody not to be complacent. Yes, we are on top of the virus. Yes, we are in a good position, but we have to remain ever vigilant. And I say to Queensland, I appreciate you making an announcement on the eve of the election. I hope it's a positive announcement, because residents in your state, in Queensland, New South Wales and across the nation are suffering as a consequence. And I also urge the West Australian Premier to do likewise, because there is no reason why New South Wales residents shouldn't be welcome into other states. I've been saying that for a long time and I maintain that position. And it has been, for myself and our agencies in New South Wales, an acute sense of frustration that a vast number of state premiers have chosen to lump New South Wales and Victoria in the same category over the course of the last few months. Now, that is an incorrect assumption, and I'm disappointed that occurred. And I would ask those state premiers to acknowledge what is occurring in New South Wales, the situation we're in, and how vastly different that is from Victoria.
So New South Wales recorded 1 new case of locally acquired COVID-19, and that.
So there you go. The Premier there is calling upon our Premier to open up, and she says that I hope that the announcement you make on the eve of the election is a positive one. Well, meanwhile in Queensland, what's happening? Let's take a look at our Premier and the opposition as they go head to head.
Every single person here, Karen, needs to know tonight, how is Deb Frecklington going to pay for all of these commitments she's been talking about during the election campaign?
And Premier, if you're waiting to see whether you want to vote for us or not, just wait until after tomorrow
That's
afternoon.
That's a definite no.
And
the borders would be open. We'd be like Victoria or the rest of the world. That is not
Premier,
the type of
if you wait
Queensland I
until
want.
tomorrow afternoon, you'll be
Why
able to vote.
can't you tell people tonight?
You'll be able to vote, and won't that be exciting to vote?
You have 100 people
for
here.
A visionary.
No, you have 100 people here tonight.
Well, she said tomorrow. The LNP leader said tomorrow the costings will be out.
So how about you vote after tomorrow, Premier?
Let's move to the. We have a lot of viewers.
That's very unfair to the people who are here tonight.
But that's what you did last time.
They'll know as of tomorrow afternoon.
Yep,
and there you go. So, say the elbowed Deb into making that announcement, and you should have seen the reaction from all the people there in the crowd. Well, right now we go to the message from our Prime Minister, and it's about the appointment of the new Justice Chief.
This morning the Governor-General accepted the advice of the Government to appoint the Honourable Justice Simon Stewart and the Honourable Justice Jacqueline Gleeson as the next Justices of the High Court of Australia. They will fill the vacancies that will arise upon the retirements of the Honourable Justice Geoffrey Nettle AC on the 30th of November this year, who will be replaced by Justice Simon Stewart, and the Honourable Virginia Bell AC on the 28th of February 2021, who will be replaced by Justice Gleeson. I want to thank Justices Nettle and Bell in advance of their upcoming retirements for their many years of judicial service to the Australian people. I'll ask the Attorney to speak to both of these appointments and as well as the process that we've gone through exhaustively to arrive at this decision on these appointments. The High Court is one of the most...
And congratulations on those appointments, and it's never easy, but it has been a process, and it is good to see that the appointments have been made now well in advance of those retirement dates. Well, the thing that everyone's been talking about lately is, the economy, how will it bounce back? So the first indications of that would be the interest rates. So, what's happening with that? So let's take a look. Is this the rebound pad?
At first glance at this quarter's consumer price data, it looks like the economy is on the mend. Inflation is at 1.6%. But that's off last quarter's collapse when childcare was free and petrol was super cheap. So this pickup in inflation shows little more than a small recovery, and the RBA is warning we're in for an unpredictable time. Rachel Papazzoni reports.
Maybe we should do it like this.
Free childcare might not have been good news for Australia's economy last quarter, but it was for the Holland family.
We could put some money towards our mortgaging, get in a more secure position, and we're able to go on a holiday with the family, which was nice.
Now that parents like Natalie are paying for childcare again, that money is flowing through the economy, and it showed up in today's inflation numbers, from a 95% drop in childcare spending in the June quarter to accounting for more than half of the 1.6% increase in spending this quarter, taking annual inflation to just 0.7%, way below the RBA's elusive 2 to 3% target.
Cool, how's that?
But it means families like the Hollands are now having to watch their finances closely again.
It's back to being tight as it was before, and we need to sort of count the pennies.
So that's one area that we will need to keep an eye on and see how we go. So figures released today, so that Bureau of Stats reveal prices are on the rebound with 1.6% in September quarter. However, the RBA warns that Australia's economic recovery will be unpredictable or even uneven. So, that's something that we will really need to be vigilant on. Well, of course, Melburnians have been rejoicing, and the newfound freedom as the shops open on the dot at midnight, and there were celebrations. But some of the reports are, and some of the scenes that people are concerned about large numbers flocking to shopping centres.
After more than 100 days in lockdown, Melbourne is finally open for business. Excited customers couldn't wait a second longer for a pint at the pub and a photo to prove it.
I don't have enough words in my vocab to describe how excited I am for this.
Opened the bookings up, had over 2,000 bookings in the first 2-3 hours.
Tough times don't last, tough people do, and we got through it.
Many pubs had already hit capacity shortly after midnight. So had suburban department stores as shoppers filled their trolleys in a late night spree.
It's 2:30 in the morning, people are still shopping.
Pretty much buying bed linen and Christmas presents for Christmas coming up.
Others waited until the sun came up.
I've got my list, got my credit card, I'm ready to go.
So were the early birds who queued online to get tickets for the Melbourne Zoo, which reopens tomorrow after a long hibernation.
We've seen incredible demand over the last 24 hours. We saw somewhere around 68,000.
Melbourne residents are waking up to a city that's more open than it's been in months.
Retail stores, restaurants and cafes are open for business with the easing of Melbourne's tough
retail and hospitality outlets have already started welcoming back customers after the easing of the long-awaited COVID.
It's felt like just holding your breath every day, a constant state of anxiety, waiting for those numbers to come out in the morning and just praying that, we're going to go back to normal relatively soon. watching the rest of Australia has been quite hard because, yeah, it seems like we're just in this bubble. We've been closed for 7 months. It's exciting, it's emotional, but it's definitely a relief.
It is really hard to articulate without living it how incredibly frustrating, how heartbreaking it is to watch Melbourne in particular just really close down and not be the city that we know it is and what I moved here for. One thing I'm really excited about is having a beer at the pub, and that's it.
Having a beer at the pub, can't beat that, as he says. That, and you can see large number of people going into the Bunnings. But Bunnings, of course, has, I think, done quite well out of this COVID-19. So many people finishing up their, do-it-yourself projects, including our Prime Minister. Well, right now it's time to go to our interview for today. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to Australian Indian Radio's a very special presentation. As we know, for the last few weeks, we have been talking with Aus India Travel and bringing you a much needed up-to-date on what you can do and what you can't do, travel-wise, tour-wise at this point in time. With that, let's welcome to the show for Tanvi Goel. Tanvi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Umeshji. Thank you, everyone. And thanks for listening to us on Australian Indian Radio. Thanks to Umeshji. Really, without him, we could not do this. I hope you all are really safe and sound. Before we go ahead, I would like to tell you all that these, or whatever we are discussing or advising, these all are the updates which we received. And for up-to-date information, always refer to the government website, and you can call us as well.
And that's a very good point that you have just made there, because rules change every time as well, so things could change, and the information is relevant at the time of the show. So, what's happening right now, and people have been, worried about all the things. So, Christmas is coming, end of the year is coming, the festive season is coming, Diwali is coming. So, do you think it's a good time for people to start thinking about trips?
Yeah, definitely. Umeshji, I would say this is the right time. So we're already approaching November, and there are so many tours around, and I know we all are actually, we're bound and home and we just want to go out. So I think things are easing up. So it's best you can book it right now. In fact, if you go on our website, ausindiatravel.com.au, under the Australia Short Tours, you will get hundreds of options to book any of the places you are in Australia. So let's say since we are in Brisbane, let's talk about Brisbane first. If you are in Brisbane in Queensland and you want to go for 5 to 7 days trip, guys, I would say you must go to Cairns. That's really an amazing place. I have been there myself. You can go to Great Barrier Reef. You can go to Kuranda Village. Kuranda Village got so many amazing sanctuaries. They got the Butterfly Sanctuary. I'm sure you can't stop yourself, catching those. In fact, there are so many amazing things. If you're in Brisbane, you want to go for a short drive to Sunshine Coast, you can go camping, you can go to beaches. Even those places you can go easily for, weekend getaway for 2-3 days or even longer than that. You can go for lunches in the river cruise. And there are so many other options you guys have. So I think this is a really right time that you can plan, because as you know, the Christmas time, it really sold out quite quick. And I think this time, Umeshji, it's going to be worse than the last time, because now people are very curious and they really want to go out. So guys, definitely go for it. Even if you are in Sydney, you can go Blue Mountain, General Caves, Harbour Town Cruise. There are so many other options. All I want to tell you guys here is I'll recommend you to be within your state, because the rules and regulations, you never know what's going to happen. So it's good to be in a safer side and try to be within your state. Or if you know that the border restrictions are removed for a particular place and you're 100% sure, then go for it. Otherwise, I would say better to be within your state.
It is always good to be within the state, because there's so much to see within our own state as well. What about Whitsundays and that new intercontinental that's been put out there near Hamilton Island?
Yeah, Yeah, so there are so many other flights also started by even Virgin Australia, OMSD. So they are going regional. That's what the new tag is. And they're going to have even the new flight from Brisbane to Alice Springs. They're going to have more frequency for Brisbane to Hamilton Island, and even flights to Adelaide and other places as well. So yeah, things are really improving, and you have a lot more options than before now.
And, you know, one of the areas where people are very used to, especially around Queensland, you know, loving the water, loving the seas, and always going out on cruises. So what's the update on cruises? What's happening there?
Umeshji, I'm so excited to tell you that. In fact, when I read this news this morning, I'm like, really? Even you all will be surprised to know that the Regent's 7 Sea Cruises recently set the record for the largest booking in the company's history for Sportsworld 2022-23, and that was more than 40% if you compare with their sales 2 years ago. So it's really a big jump. That means everyone is really excited and you can book it. And the best part is a lot of companies, Umeshji, are giving you very, you know, their terms and conditions pretty good. They are changeable. Some are giving you refunds as well. So yes, you can even go on water and take small cruises as well and book the new ones, and especially this particular one, Umeshji, they are including all the places for Africa and Asia mainly. So they are really exciting. People can book it. There is no problem about that.
Wow, that is exciting news, you know. So, you know, pack your bags. We're going cruising. Yes.
I am going to very soon.
Yes, very good. And so we even, that is the amazing that, you know, considering everything that, you know, they have had that much sales and inquiries. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it was even very surprising, I would say, which is great. Something so positive coming from there.
Yes. So as people start moving in and about and going from here to there, so what's the update about any easing of any border restrictions or flights which are, you know, linked with those restrictions?
Okay, Umeshji, recently, the last week, there was an ease of border restriction between New South Wales and Tasmania, which is amazing. Now, Qantas has moved quickly to take advantage of that, and they started a new flight from Sydney to Launceston. In fact, they're going to start the services from 4th of December. So it will be, they'll operate 3 times a week. And in fact, they will start the more frequency from 11th December till 1st of Feb, which means if anyone going to Christmas or New Year will have more frequencies and more things. And they are planning to increase, have up to 900 extra seats, which means you don't have to worry even if there are, you know, more people going, you should still be able to get good prices and more seats, Umeshji.
I know there has been, you know, some flights coming from India to, from Delhi to Darwin, and I featured that in my news this morning. That's how I know. And what are any flight updates from Australia to India?
Yes, Umeshji, recently there were 7 flights launched by Air India government. So these flights are between 1st November to 20th November. The good thing is this time they have 1 flight from Melbourne to Delhi as well. Generally, it's just Sydney to Delhi. So our Melbourne friends, they're like, why don't we have Air India from here? So I think it's a trial thing. Out of 7 flights, they just got 1 from Melbourne, which is on 1st of November. The only thing about this, Umeshji, is the flights are a little expensive than it used to be before. So this time their fares are around $17.98 per person. Then if you're going to a different places in India, then you have to pay extra for it. So, and there is 1 more flight launched last week, which was Sydney to Delhi on 12th of November, and the fares start from $1,295, Umeshji.
I'm sure that if people, you know, want to get on these flights, they won't mind paying a little bit extra. I think around this time, only people who really want to travel would be the ones who would be coming forward and traveling. Now, we've had people, you know, complain about the flights. They manage to get on the flights, and people are normally used to a lot of things on the flight itself, you know, the food, the entertainment part and whatever. And these days, you know, some of the people are sitting there, nothing to do, and they get a little bit bored in the last few months. So any update on in-flight, you know, entertainment and the meal options?
Yeah, that's really amazing. Even I got lots of calls these days. People just call, ma'am, do I still have to bring my own food? Really? And I would say, yes, I'm so happy. From next month onwards, majority of charters, they are giving you hot meals. They started the entertainment as well, so you don't have to worry, except Scoot is still not allowing. And another thing I want to mention here, Umesh, is the blanket, guys. You don't have to buy more blanket. Because in Scoot, in other airlines, they were asking you to take blanket as well. So I know some of the local stores, they must be selling a lot of blankets. So now you don't have to carry your blanket as well. In most of the flights, you are getting all of this covered.
So when you take your blanket and everything, it's like sitting in a bus, eh?
I know. That's what I always say, Umesh. It's like we are back home and you want to have some tours. So we got all our friends and family. We're hiring a bus. So same thing we are doing here, Umesh. We are just hiring a plane, just in some more modernized way.
Yes, and as I mentioned before, that even under all those circumstances, if someone had to go and if they were on those flights, they would consider themselves lucky, with all those conditions itself. Now, if someone does decide to go to India, what would be their first step? What do they need to do first?
Okay, so Umesh, it's really very good question. I know there are so many people stressed out because mainly people are flying in emergency to India or if they are stuck here. So this is a question maybe I am asked by many people every single day. So I would like to brush on that again. So guys, if all you have to think first is whether you have all the documents with you or not. When we talk about document, if you are citizen of Australia, you just need main two documents. So one is exemption to travel from Home Affairs website, and second, OCI. If you don't have OCI, we have covered last time as well, you need to have an emergency visa. So apply these two immediately, even if you have any idea that you have to fly very soon. So just apply these two documents because they will be very handy if you need to fly. And second, if you are PR, then you need the exemption to travel from Home Affairs. It's always good to keep these documents with you because you cannot fly, you cannot leave Australia without these two documents. And if you are Indian citizen on temporary visa, you don't have to worry. All you need is just do your COVID test at least 96 hours prior to departure if you think you have to go fast, but we can book you straight away. There is no problem at all.
Oh, that is wonderful news. But once again, people need to be very vigilant that they have all the documents and that they have followed the procedures. No use getting to the gate and finding out that they won't let you go because you've missed some of the steps. So it's very important that all these steps are followed. So if people have done all those things and if they want to fly out of Brisbane, so what are the options? What's their first options?
Okay, Umesh, once again, the flight we discussed last time, the Scoot on 5th of November, we still have 7 seats left, guys. So this is your last chance and maybe this is the last charter direct from Brisbane. We still have some seats left, which is going next Thursday. If you can't make to that one, I know some of you have asked that you want to celebrate Diwali with your family here and you want to send them afterwards. Then you have option for Emirates. As I mentioned before, Emirates is going with longer haul. And I just want to mention one thing here, which happened last week. There were a couple of cancellation in Emirates as well. So 31st October flight is cancelled and there are a couple of more. Not every flight, but be vigilant and be checked with your agent what you are booking and what is the best possible option for you if you're buying Emirates. And third is definitely, as I mentioned before, we can connect you from any of the charters we have from Melbourne and Sydney. In fact, Air India as well if you want to go with that one. So these are the best options from Brisbane. Umesh.
Okay, so those are very good options that you have explained there. And of course, that's a disclaimer and duty of care to disclose that there could be some cancellations that people need to check with their travel agents and a reconfirmation in these conditions, is very advisable. So I know that, with our show, people listen or hear from, and we get comments from all around the world. But mainly, right now, I'm curious to know, many people from Sydney often ask the question, so you've covered Brisbane and Melbourne. What about Sydney? So what are the options from Sydney at this point in time?
Okay, so from Sydney, as I mentioned before, we have Air India from 2nd November till 20th November. Then we also have 2 more flights from Sydney to Delhi. That's 11th November and 7th and 12th November. And then we have 2 flights from Sydney to Bangalore. First is 17th November and then 15th of December. And the fare of these ones starts from $1,295, Umesh.
Okay, so that is the options there from Sydney.
Yeah,
So you are not left out, not left out at all. So you got some options there as well. Now, what about Melbourne? As we know, Melbourne is just coming out of the restrictions. So what are the options available to the Melburnians?
So Melbourne is always the luckiest one, I would say, in terms of flights, Umesh, because Melbourne gets the maximum options flying from Australia to India. So we got flight from Melbourne on 1st of November, 2nd November, 9th November to Amritsar. So we have basically two flights going to three places. One is Delhi, second is Amritsar, direct flight from Melbourne, and third is to Bangalore. So there are quite a few options from 1st November to 8th of December, Umesh.
So that's wonderful that they have all that options, as you mentioned. In this instance, they are lucky. Right. So do you have any special tips now before we conclude today's program, for anyone who's wishing to travel or any things that they need to know?
Okay, Umesh, my biggest tip for today would be, guys, if you or your family is traveling, make sure they have some cash with them. This is very, very important. We have some instances, even though we tell everyone bring some cash, some coins. In fact, we saw some instances where without card people having issues. So my recommendation would be make sure you have the small coins, let's say $1 coin, $2, $5, $10 notes, $50, and not only Australian dollars, but you have Indian rupees as well. At least 5,000 rupees I would recommend you should carry with you, because if you are in India, you need something, it's always good to have. And also I would recommend to have a travel money card, which is really hitting, going very good these days, because I heard from some passengers that in some places, let's say in Melbourne, sometimes you have to pay for the baggage trolley. So I know one passenger who landed up in Melbourne and didn't have anything, and he really had a lot of issues. So I would say take this one. For instance, I bought one from Commonwealth Bank. They charged me only $15 one-off fees. Let's say I bought it 7 years ago from Commonwealth Bank. Just $15 I paid for 2 cards. And every year, once it expires, they just send me a new one. So what the benefit of this card is, you can probably get from any bank. I think all the banks pretty much got the travel money card. The benefit is you can control that from your own banking. You can transfer the money whatever you want. In fact, if it was misused somewhere, you can block it immediately. It's like your own travel, like credit card, but it's prepaid. So, and they convert the money in different places as different currencies as well. So I would highly recommend you to give one of the card to your parents if they're going. If you're going, maybe you have a credit card, but just give them some card as well, so they don't get stuck when they are, outside. Amazing.
It is very important because there are so many facilities that need to be used. Now, while you were saying that, something came to my mind, because there are some facilities which are only coin operated, that becomes a little bit of a problem. But these days, more and more machines use the card. You can use, with the card. The good part is it doesn't matter which country you are in. With a little bit of fee, you can use that. With the coins, different countries' coin might not work in other countries as well.
But mainly in Australian airports, it's good to have some coins. If you are going, let's say, if you're going Brisbane to Melbourne and then Melbourne to Delhi, it's good you have some coins as well, because you might need it for the baggage trolley or little, coffee or things. So yeah, it's always good to carry some cash, Umesh.
No, that's a good point. I would have never thought of that, but yeah, there you go. Some very good, very fine traveling trips there as well. Where can...
Just one more tip.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to mention one more thing I just remembered, Umesh, which happened to some of our passengers as well. So, guys, when you are going via any of the airports in Australia, make sure that the passenger knows a little bit English, or they can approach other people, because sometimes, especially our older parents, they don't know much English, right? So then they just feel left alone. So for example, I'd send someone from Brisbane to Sydney and Sydney to Delhi. When they reached the Sydney airport, they said, that they were given the wheelchair assistance, but the person was not helping them from the domestic airport to international. So please don't reconsider that from the domestic flight to international, the wheelchair person will take you, because it goes flight to flight. So both charter flights and domestic are not connected. So if you you expect them to do that, if they do it, it's amazing. If not, just make sure that you ask them. If not, and you think your parents are very scared, we have seen one more amazing option where you can ask one of your friends from the local place. Let's say if they're going from Sydney and you know from Sydney, then they can probably help your parents to check out from the domestic airport, and then they can help them to check in an international flight. Okay, so I think this is very, very important point for you, that if you go via any domestic flight in Australia, then make sure that your parents know what to expect and what to do when they are there, so they are not lost.
I can really relate to that, having traveled a lot. Even being a frequent flyer, frequent traveler, I have that problem even knowing English in many airports in the world where I have connecting flights, or where I have to go from one terminal to another one. Sometimes the information is just not there. They say, okay, you go there will be a bus that will take you. Okay, where do I go to find that bus, or where, which gate? And sometimes, that can be overwhelming. And I can imagine for elderly people and not knowing English, it could be a very daunting experience. I can speak from the experience there. So for further information now, if people need any further information and guidance and help, where can they go and how can they contact you?
Okay, so Maisdy, they can call me as well on 040-440-3264. They can go to our page, which is facebook.com Oz India Travel. In fact, I got so many videos as well for COVID tests, how to do your COVID test, how to fill the forms, and there are so many other information also available on the page. They can go on our website. There's an option where they can click for the call back. You have to just put your number and their email IDs on the website. So yeah, any question guys you have, always feel free to call us or message on Facebook or in this number. We're always there to help you. Just one more thing I want to mention here. Once again, Umesh also mentioned last show, we are helping everyone, guys. Doesn't matter you book with us or not. I'm really very, very proud to say that every day I'm helping at least 5-7 people who have not been booked with us, but they trust on us that yes, we can help them for, taking them step-by-step process. So it's just not you have to book with us, then only we'll help you. We are there for you throughout the way. So don't worry. Just feel free to call us and approach us. Amazing.
And I think that's an amazing effort, because in times of need like this, people sometimes get very uptight. They don't want to answer anyone's question unless they are actually dealing with them. And the fact that you are, reaching out and helping these people in need, providing information that they need. Sometimes we know our people can be very tiring. They'll keep asking, lots of questions, and sometimes we think, oh, they're silly questions, they should know, but not everyone knows. So we need to look at from their point of view, because many times when we are in the industry, we are used to some terms, some jargon, some things we take for granted, but we don't forget that these people, some of them might not be frequent flyers or travelers, so they need that kind of information, and I'm so proud that you are doing that for them. That is excellent. Wonderfulness there.
Thank you so much. I would say just not they need that information, but so many people are very stressed as well. So even you tell them, they kind of forget, and because they are stressful, they just want to reconfirm again and again. And that's the reason I'm trying to make more videos. And through this channel, through you with Australian Indian Radio, we are just trying to reach to more people, so they can listen to the video again and see, okay, this is where they're lacking, this is the information they're lacking, they can watch it again. So I totally understand, Umeshji, but this is a time of need. I think we all come together without thinking that whether it's a silly question or not. It's the time of need. We all should come together and help each other. This is the right time for it, Umeshji.
And that is such a great Australian thing, mates for mates, as they say. And in time of need, we are there. So, you're showing that true spirit there of helping our community. That's amazing work. Well done. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Jai Hind. Namaste.
And stay safe. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go, that interview there with Tanvi from Oz India Travel. And as I mentioned on that they are providing this service to anyone who needs that information from within the community. That is just so great. Well, right now it's time to take a commercial break.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, Trusted and respected agency in its trade area, Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
And that message there from our sponsors, GlobeNet Realty. Now, if you would like your business to be featured in this segment, please do contact us and we can work out your promotion in this segment here as well. Well, right now it's time to go to events, and with that, the first event we're talking about is Gopio Queensland's annual Diwali dinner. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Australian Indian Radio, and once again we're going to be talking about one of the functions that we're supporting, and we're going to talk about Gopio Queensland's Diwali dinner. With that, we'll welcome Tanvi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Umeshji. Everyone, I'm so pleased to be here today. I'm the Public Relationship Officer for Gopio Queensland and would like to invite you all for our amazing events coming next weekend. On 7th of November, we're going to have Diwali dinner. So I call it Diwali in style. So please come along. You can buy the tickets on Eventbrite. So it's $40 per head plus little Eventbrite fees. And on the night, we are planning to make it really very, very exciting. So you can come along with your family, with even kids. We'll be having a lot of prizes as well. So best dress for the couple, for the kids, and individually as well. Ladies, don't forget to check out all your wardrobes. And on the day, we're planning a lot of games as well. So I'll be the game manager on the day. So don't worry, you can't do any cheating. But yes, we'll be doing Antakshari and so many other games. And also we're going to have a guest singer on the night. So there'll be a lot of things to do, and basically a night full of fun. And the 3-course meal is included as well. So you don't have to worry basically going back home and cooking. So yes, guys, please come along and join us on the day. Amazing.
And it is wonderful that, there's so much entertainment that's going to be happening there on the night. It is so good. And as a public relations officer for the Gopio Queensland, I think you're doing an amazing job there as well. So, if people come in, what would be the best time for them to come in? How can they book the tickets?
Okay, so they can book on Eventbrite. Straight, just fill your details, and it's a $40 per person plus the Eventbrite fees. And the time starts 5:30 p.m. So guys, don't be late. If you're getting late, that means you are missing out the fun. Just be there.
And during this festive time, normally we have a lot more people, and I think you have said that due to COVID restrictions, numbers are restricted. So having that in mind, I'd say that people would need to book in early, otherwise they'll miss out.
Yeah, definitely. Just last few seats left, guys. So don't forget to even book today, and bring your friends as well. This is the best time for you to have a good catch up with your friends, and wear some nice dresses and take lots and lots of pictures. Believe me, when you send those pictures on Facebook and your friends see back home, they'll be so jealous of you, and you have to make them jealous. I always love it.
Yes, you have to, and it is wonderful. Normally, I know that you can accommodate more people, sometimes more than what you aim for, because people always want to book in the last minute. But because of COVID restrictions, they can't. So, as you have said, that they need to, book in right now for the remaining of the tickets that are there. And so what do I need to wear to get my best dressed prize?
So anything really exciting? I would say, ladies, wear some nice sari, have some nice jewelry. For boys, there are not much options, but Umeshji, you might wear maybe some kurta, not the suit. If you wear suit, I'm not going to give you price for sure. So yeah, anything. And for kids also, wear anything nice and colorful. Yeah, just be there, and don't forget, we have a lot of prizes and you can be the lucky one.
And it's wonderful time because restrictions are easing slowly, time to get about, and it is that festive season, joyous season, the victory of good over evil. So let's all get together and enjoy on the night. So that venue once again is Indian Brothers Restaurant, 275 Ipswich Road in Annerley. We'd like to see you all there.
Thank you so much. And if you have any question, you can call Rakesh Sharma ji, the president, on 0411289202, or you can call me as well at Tanvi 04044033264. So don't worry, if you have any question, give us a call, or just go on Eventbrite and book it.
See you all there.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Upgrades at Gold Coast manufacturing.
Live update coming from Gold Coast.
Commitments that our government is putting out there very clearly to Gold Coasters, and it builds on the achievements to date. The light rail, the existing M1 upgrades. It was the Labor government who built the Gold Coast University Hospital. We have the runs on the board, and we're asking Queenslanders for their trust to allow us to continue going through our economic recovery planning, creating jobs and building the infrastructure that a growing city like the Gold Coast needs. What we have is the LNP of cuts and chaos, led by Deb Frecklington. Even John Paul Langbrook said at the last election they could have done more, and by more they mean something, because they did nothing. That is what there is a choice at this election. A government who has delivered for Gold Coasters, and a LNP Frecklington-led government who has to talk about projects 30 years ago because they had nothing to deliver under Campbell Newman. That is what's at stake. So we're asking people to put your faith in our Gold Coast candidates to make sure that we have a stronger voice on the Gold Coast so we can deliver even more for this growing population. So I want to thank the Premier for this announcement today. I know it's a really important asset to a lot of Gold Coasters. We've done that lengthy consultation to deliver the master plan, and this builds on the work we've been doing, listening to locals and making sure we're delivering the assets that they deserve and need.
Okay, we're happy to take some questions.
Premier, there's 5 new cases in New South Wales today.
Yeah.
One is right now a mystery case. How will this affect the border reopening?
Yeah, well, as I've said, and I've been very consistent on that, and of course Dr Young will provide us with that advice when she's taken into account those new cases, but also to that sewage testing and also the level of testing that's happening in New South Wales.
What advice did she give you this morning?
Sorry?
During your briefing this morning, what advice did you give?
No, we didn't have a briefing this morning. I've been out and about, so that briefing will probably happen later on today. But in terms of the borders, I think that formal discussion will happen tomorrow when I'm back in the office.
Premier, the Boston Village Roadshow has tweeted that if borders remain closed, their business will be shared. They're one of the bigger employers.
They are. They employ a lot of people.
Are you willing to risk all those jobs by keeping the borders closed?
I have to do what I have to do to keep Queenslanders safe, Joel. I am not diverting one step away from that, so we will listen to the health advice. It stood Queensland in good stead. The fact that I can come out here in front of you all and say we have 0 new cases is because of the hard work of all Queenslanders, and we will take the health advice. Dr Young has always provided us with expert advice every single step of the way. She's one of the most experienced health officers in the country, and I value her judgment and I value her medical advice.
Premier, you said last night that the hotel quarantine system cannot cope. What did you mean by that? How is it not coping?
No, what I said very clearly is that if we had a rush of international students coming into Queensland, that could put at risk our hotel quarantine and put at risk the health of Queenslanders.
You said it cannot cope at the moment. What did that mean?
No, it can cope now, but you cannot stretch hotel quarantine. You cannot go too quickly and too fast.
But the government was in talks to run one of these trials in June or July before the second outbreak in Victoria. What's changed since then with our hotel quarantine?
No, our hotel quarantine is very robust, but I'm not going to put the lives of Queenslanders at risk by rushing into decisions where they need to be managed. They need to have police, and also they need to have ADF. Okay, so at the moment we can absolutely cope with what we have to do for international arrivals. Okay, that's what we said. The priority is to get Queenslanders and Australians home and families reunited, but we are not going to rush international students. We don't know which countries they're coming from, and we know that there are large infections happening at the moment across many parts of the world.
But how are you rushing it if you're in the final talks of the trial in June and July?
No, I'm not in talks in the final.
Minister Jones said in June and July that the government was in the final stages.
No, we've had discussions with universities, right? But there are trials happening in other states. We will look at those trials and examine them very carefully, and the Chief Health Officer will examine them very carefully, and then she would provide me with advice.
If it's coping at the moment, why?
Okay, Jack, you've had a go. Yes, Claire?
Premier, you previously said that you'd be willing to lose the election on the back of your border stance. Do you think it will cost you Saturday's election?
Well, that's up to the people of Queensland. I will stand on my record. I will always do what's right for this state. I've said that time and time again. And there is a very, very clear choice that Queenslanders have to make. And now is not the time to risk Deb Frecklington and the LNP.
If you're re-elected Premier, what are your, say, top 3 legislative priorities for your government?
I am absolutely focused on this election. So it is going to be down to the wire, and everything I do between now and election day is focused on the people of this state. This morning you would have seen my commitment. I've already been to Burleigh and Currumbin. We have a lot of seats to cover across today across the southeast, and I intend to meet as many voters as I possibly can.
Appreciating that, Premier, but I'm sure voters would be interested to know that if your government is re-elected,
the first priority is that we, and I've said this very publicly, is that we would do a budget by the end of this year. We were not able to do a budget earlier because the federal budget had not been handed down. Now that it has been handed down, and also too, you hear Deb Frecklington once again being reckless, saying that Queensland is the only state not to have a budget. That is false. That is absolutely false, and other states will also be doing theirs before the end of the year.
Gladys Berejiklian now says...
Yes, Brendan?
Gladys Berejiklian now says that she, in fact, didn't have those conversations with Deb Frecklington, and that...
Oh, I'm quite sure she had those conversations. She was very adamant yesterday, but now all of a sudden, it doesn't suit the LNP. So they're just changing their tune. Mark my words. Gladys Berejiklian, the New South Wales Premier, said very clearly that she had had conversations with Deb Frecklington, and she was absolutely confident that Deb Frecklington would have opened the borders months ago, back in July. And we all know what would have happened if the borders had been open. You cannot trust the LNP.
Premier, could you just run a little bit of a hypocrite though, because she's not going to open the borders to Victoria. She's rubbishing you.
Well, Ebony, that is an absolutely critical point as well. She has stood firm and she is not opening to Victoria. Why? Because she is concerned, as I am concerned, about people now coming into lockdown and socialising and what that does for community transmission. And as I said yesterday, and I'll say it again, I will not be lectured by the Premier of New South Wales.
Premier, could you run through when the border decision is made tomorrow? What are the options? Is it expanding the border?
No, I haven't got those options yet. I've got that. They'll come from the Chief Health Officer, Lydia. That's the way the Chief Health Officer works. Sorry?
So everything's on the table. We could see the border bubble expanded, or New South Wales could just no longer be a
Well, no, it's a matter for her. She will advise us and we will tell the public. And I'll tell you what, we'll be telling the public before midday, unlike Deb Frecklington and the LNP.
Will you hold the press conference after that so that we can ask you questions about this?
You'll always be able to ask me questions, Lydia.
Premier, in 2009, the right...
I'm always here.
The right to information...
I'm sorry you didn't get to come to Currumbin either today. It was a beautiful morning feeding those lorikeets.
In 2009, the Right to Information Act was introduced following recommendations from the Fitzgerald inquiry. Our investigation shows QPS in the past year is failing to comply with the law with the intent of being open and accountable. Will you consider boosting the powers and or resources of the Information Commissioner to ensure we don't return to the bad old days of pre-Fitzgerald?
Look, if the RTI Commission wants, those officers want extra resources, of course we'll absolutely look at that, but it has not been brought to my attention, so thank you for that.
But it's on the table?
Sorry?
You potentially expand those powers?
Well, I mean, there's a lot more right to information requests coming in, and it takes a lot of time and takes a lot of effort for officers. So we would have to look very closely at that and see what resources they have.
Premier, you've been Premier for 68 months, and of that time, 39 of those months, Queensland's had the highest or second highest unemployment rate in the country. Given now that we're in the COVID crisis, how can Queenslanders have faith in you that you'll create jobs on the other side of this?
Well, I'll stand on my record. So let me say very clearly, before COVID, My government developed 5 surpluses and we created 250,000 jobs. Our unemployment rate got below 6%. And then COVID hit and there's been a world pandemic. Now let me say this, if you don't have a strong health response, you don't have an economy. Take Victoria for an example. People are not working, people were locked in their homes, and they weren't going out. Now last night I had the opportunity to go and speak to a lovely couple who run an Italian restaurant down here at Burleigh. You know what they said to me? They've got relatives in Italy. They've got relatives in Italy at the moment, and their relatives have to close their businesses for good because they've been going through a very, very difficult time with COVID and the number of cases. That means that people are not frequenting their restaurant. You know what gave me great hope last night? I sat down there and the restaurant was full. And the restaurant was full and people were out and about mingling and there were people in work because of the strong health response that all Queenslanders can be given credit to. And that's the Queensland and the lifestyle that I want to maintain in this state. Now is not the time to put all that at risk. So that
now is not the time to let our range loose. So I think there's a point there, and results as they reckon do speak for themselves. Look at the number of cases that we have managed to maintain here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for me from today. It's been wonderful having your company as usual. It's so good to see you. I hope you've enjoyed this. So please do like and share with you and your groups. As we know, we've had a bit of a difficulty sharing the post lately, but we're working around that. But for now, it's been wonderful having your company. So until tomorrow, please be good and most importantly, stay safe. See you later.